is the return of Red vs. Blue Radio with your host and fearless leader, Scott Atkins, at Scott Fantasy on Twitter. Red vs. Blue is a proud partner of the new full-time podcast network, now sponsored by Sports Illustrated. Guests can be part of the live chat we call The Crew, and also join the show by calling 646-668-8147. Red vs. Blue, where sports, fantasy, and life collides. Politically correct? No chance. Fair and balanced? Absolutely. Get ready. Red vs. Blue is back in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Red vs. Blue Friday Night Football, wherever you may be. Thanks for making us part of your night. I'm Scott Atkins, Team Legacy in the world of high-stakes fantasy football. And as always, I'm joined by my Big Blue co-host here, the Buffalo Bill fan, Adam Krautwurst. Adam, this is Red vs. Blue 2. This is a PPR draft, part of the Circa Las Vegas Fantasy Championships. $349 entry fee, $50,000 on the line. What's good, brother?
Nothing, because I can't get Jahmyr Gibbs in any draft ever.
You can't get Gibbs. Oh, you see, it's right in front of you.
I guess I got to get the 101 to get Jahmyr Gibbs. Do these guys know you start three receivers? That you have to start three
receivers at least. Okay.
All right. Well, they're just going to keep letting me take. I have too much CD Lamb already. I have too much CD Lamb, so I guess I'll go Jefferson. I guess I'll mix it up a little bit, but yeah, no, I'm doing great. I'm excited to draft with these guys. Gonna be fun. Gonna break down the draft. We'll have Jerry on here in a little bit. We love having Jerry on, experienced drafter, high stakes aficionado. So, but yeah, I was hoping to get Gibbs. I've had the 104 like 3 or 4 times now, and can't seem to get him.
You know what? Every draft is different. You have to be able to pivot, and there's no room to panic in the first round, brother.
Right.
It's the first round. It's a long draft. These are 20-round leagues. It is PPR. It's an 11-man starting lineup. So we start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, a kicker, a defense, and 2 flex positions. So that's what we were talking about earlier. You can start up to 5 wide receivers. So you will see, if you've never seen an FFWC draft, you will see a lot of yellow stickers. The yellow stickers represent the wide receivers on the draft board. You're going to see a bunch of them. We're going to run down the draft board and the participants in tonight's draft. Everybody always changes up their team names here, so I've got to pull it up. From the 1 hole, 4 TDs, 2 freedom. That's Ben Forster, Dynasty King himself, big time in the world of Dynasty and jumping in the Las Vegas Fantasy Championship. Gets the 1 pick and takes Jamar Chase. Now, that is becoming common practice that we're seeing the triple threat, the Triple Crown winner, Jamar Chase. What does that mean? He had the most catches for a wide receiver. He had the most yards for a wide receiver last season, and he had the most touchdowns. He had it all, Adam. And really no reason to think he can't repeat that this year.
Yeah, easy pick, especially in the FFWC where you got to start 3 receivers. You can start up to 5. So Chase is, again, he's safe. If he's healthy, he's totally safe. He'll finish top 3 guaranteed lock as long as he's healthy. So great pick. He'll be probably the number 1 overall pick in most of the world championship drafts too.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot, and this is the Red versus Blue draft. So we telegraph a lot of stuff. We talk it out loud. You know what you're getting into. These 12 drafters know what they're getting into. We talk it out. So we will let you know what we think of a pick. We'll let you know what we think is coming in the next round and the next round after that. So when we see Jamar Chase, what have we been seeing a lot of this year, Adam? We've seen a lot of stacking. Tell everybody what's the stacking that's been going on with that 1 pick.
Yeah, the stacking is basically just them loading up on those Bengals players, right? And so, because again, you got the 3-week race at the end where you're playing for all the money, the final 3 weeks, and you want to be able to. The idea is that if Burrow goes off and you have all those receivers, then they're all going to go off. So and you're gonna kind of stack up those points. It's easier. You have to be right about less things when you've got all the players on one team. If that team has a good game, all your guys are going to do well. If you've got players on separate teams, well, one quarterback has to play good. This receiver on a different team has to play good. This running back on the other team has to play good. So stacking. Now, it's more beneficial for best ball where you don't have to decide who to start, who to sit. But there is, when it comes to these top-heavy tournaments, 3-week races at the end, there is something to be said about that stacking. But, Scott, like we like to get into the macro and get into the nitty-gritty with these guys too. you want to be unique in these tournaments. You don't want the same teams. And that Cincinnati Bengals stack is going to be so common in all of these leagues that even if they do go crazy, if everybody has them, you don't really set yourself apart.
Well, that's 3 of many, right? I mean, so I guess at that point you're looking at the stack tool and you're trying to see what are you stacking with the stack. So right. That'll be where you get unique, because I have seen a lot of Chase, Higgins. I've seen a lot of overpays for Burrow because of that, when honestly Burrow is not necessarily the number 1 quarterback. But if you have a big year, like you said, you like to capture all of it. But there are other quarterbacks that can easily put up more points than him, and taking him first just because you have a stack, I'm not so sure that's the right call, but we are seeing it a lot. And ADP wise in this format, Joe Burrow's ADP is 64, right? So you have to take him on that 4 or 5 turn if you want to see him come back, because you're probably not going to see him back on the 6-7 turn, but it has happened. The 6-7 turn is where he probably belongs. But taking him on that 4 or 5 turn is awfully early.
Yeah, it is. And especially in the FFWC, we can get quarterbacks.
Daniels, all those still available.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Adam, total whiffed on this, but this is episode 300. 300 for Red versus Blue. Everybody, round of applause for the crew, the chat room. Some of the best minds in the world of high-stakes fantasy football are always in either the Discord and the YouTube chat. Just these guys, they live and breathe fantasy football. And look, you put in the time, that's why they win. Okay. It doesn't matter how much you spend on fantasy football. Well, yes, it does. It does, because they're more active. They spend more time. They work the waiver wire. They spend more time on the starting lineups. They spend more time on the stories. There's not a story that goes under the radar with them. So yes, it's not the money specifically, because some people drop money and that doesn't make them, but it goes along with a lot of these guys. They spend a lot of money because they're into it, they're living it, they're breathing it, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. And they get a little ROI. I mean, it's all about the ROI right now. You got your crypto over here, you got your stock fund, you got your the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ over here. You got your 401k and your mutual funds, your IRAs, and you got your fantasy football. All these little streams of income, they all add up at the end of the year, so we can take our vacations, we can take our wives out, get them the nice new ring every couple of years. That's right. Stuff, and, it's all part of it. And like I said, some of the best minds here, episode 300. I'm so proud. And I got to mention Mikey Trent. Mike Trent started this show with me way back when in the day, just from going to the events in Chicago and NFFC and traveling all around and doing high stakes leagues. And we said, you know what could we do if we just wanted to have fun? We'd do broadcasting. We'd do sports broadcasting. And we just started up a Red versus Blue show. It started on Kentucky and Louisville athletics, hence the red and blue. And the fantasy football audience gravitated to the show more than the college athletics. And so it just became and morphed into a fantasy football show, which then morphed into a fantasy football career for me. And the rest is history, right? So it's like Red versus Blue is where it all started. We were the first ever live play-by-play, pick-by-pick commentary draft online. We started it all. So, and then look at it now. Look at it now. Look how many drafts are online everywhere. Everybody's streaming drafts. Everybody's doing it. And
yes.
It all started here. A lot of people don't know. Red versus Blue, Friday nights. We streamed the FFPC drafts and the AFFL drafts and the WCOF drafts. We were doing it all back then. So that was back in the very, very beginning of the FFPC. That's when it all started. But great draft room here tonight. We started off a great start here. Let's look at the 2 pick. This is RB2, Team RB2. That's creative. Rock Frost, another high stakes veteran, and he takes Bijan Robinson again. We're seeing Chase, but right after that, it's typically always Bijan Robinson. He kind of has owned the 2 spot. And if I look at ADP, the advanced ADP tool, it's available on full time. His average is 2.3. His high is 1. So he has went 1 overall. His low is 3. He hasn't fell past the 3rd pick overall, Adam. Bijan is the one that everybody wants.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's due. If you read Jody's article, it talks about like all the kind of the attributes of players that lead the league in rushing, and he's right there with the age and the skill level and the offense and all that. So could certainly see him leading the league in rushing. He's got the offense. Hopefully, will be better with Penix. And I think he's got a very bright future. So I think he's fine.
Aloha, Rock Frost. Rock lives in Hawaii, has home there. Bijan, Bucky Irving, and Tyreek Hill to start. Ben Forster started with Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and Devontae Adams. So passed on the stack and passed on T. Higgins for Devontae Adams, Adam. Let's take a look at the advanced ADP on Devontae Adams versus T. Higgins, and let's see. They're right next to each other. T. Higgins 15, Devontae Adams 16 as far as wide receiver counts, 25 and 26. They're right there. There's a little bit more chemistry, of course, with T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. Does it worry you that there's two things that with Devontae? Well, there's three things that I think of. Devontae Adams, age, right?
Yep.
Although he is a peak physical specimen, but age, chemistry with Stafford when the chemistry really exists with Puka.
Yep.
And the third thing is, well, it's Stafford's age is the third category. You know, if one of those quarterbacks were to go down with injury, would you put your money on Stafford going down or Burrow going down?
Yeah.
It would be Stafford. It'd be Stafford.
Yeah, probably. But it might be a coin flip. I mean, Burrow's got that wrist that's always seems to be bothering him, and their O-line has been questionable. But yeah, my thing, like, I'm big on Adams this year, so I'm okay with it. And maybe he was listening earlier and was like, hey, I want to get a little bit unique and not get the Bengals. I think they're the same thing, honestly, Scott. Like, they're number 2 receivers on their team. They have king-making quarterbacks. Stafford's a kingmaker. The difference is Puka is much more injury prone, I think, than Chase is. I mean, if Puka goes down, Adams is going to smash. He even last year, still with his age, he was one of the best receivers.
Is that not true for Jamar Chase too?
Yeah, Chase has had some injuries for sure. So I think they're really neck and neck still. With all that being said, Higgins, obviously, if we're talking about Higgins versus Adams, Higgins is younger, but Higgins is always, like, I just took Higgins, like, but he's always hurt. Always hurt. Doesn't play, like, he's another guy that is active, will play one series and not play the rest of the game. How many times has he done that? Like, so he's super frustrating. I like Adams in a vacuum over Higgins this year.
Yeah, and I guess you talk about vacated targets. I mean, Cooper Kupp had 67 receptions last year, 710 yards. You compare that to T. Higgins, who had 73 for 911, 10 touchdowns, a little bit more touchdown-oriented. And then Adams, last year in New York, 85 for 1063 and 8. I mean, there's a lot to go around in New York, of course, but with quarterback issues there, we'll talk about that later. Predator 5 is in this draft. This guy found us last year. Derek Greer plays in the FFPC, plays with us. Gibbs and burns you on Gibbs, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Kyron Williams. By the way, Predator, shouts out to Predator, last year was the best record and most points leader through 14 weeks and didn't have enough to hang on, fell second place. It's really hard to lead it wire to wire, right? You lead in the regular season. That's why we reward the best record and most points with cash. And then you have to finish that week 15 through 17 final stretch, total points. That's how they do this format. Total points, the last 3 weeks of the season for the 4 playoff teams. Very hard to lead both. Yes. But he's trying to here with Gibbs and Jigba and Kyron. What do you think of that start?
Well, yeah, don't hate 2 out of the 3 being running backs. As long we'll see what he does kind of with the rest of it here. Gibbs, again, I'm such a volume drafter, Scott, that I don't necessarily have a big Gibbs over Barkley, over Robinson. Like, I lean Robinson for sure, but, like, I just want to get pieces of all those guys, and I just haven't been able to get Gibbs. He's one of those things that, like, I have like 6 shares of CD Lamb already. So, like, I like Lamb over Jefferson, but I just needed to get some Jefferson shares there. But no, Gibbs is fine. I wish he would have fell to me. JSN, fine. I think I took him the other night in the same spot. Kyron Williams, we'll see if Kyron Williams if he can stay healthy, he's a workhorse, and then he'll have 2 stud backs there.
Let's talk about Kyron Williams. There's a lot of hate on Kyron. He's just a guy, got into the offense last year, and everybody was, okay, whatever. He averaged 5 yards a carry in 2023 with 32 receptions. You come up to 2024, he averages 4.1 yards per carry and still that 34 receptions, but he gets 300 carries. So he's a volume back. And I guess coming out of college, the measurables weren't there. He wasn't a combine performer, but he just has a kind of a straightforward kind of style and kind of a, just get it done. And a hard-nosed football player, knows how to find the end zone. And McVay likes him. I mean, McVay does spin for Jarquez Hunter and gets another running back there. Spent last year with Blake Corum. So he is wanting to try to diversify and get a little jazzy with the offense and the running back position. But there's no doubt that Kyren is just in a great offense. I mean, with McVay, they're going to move the ball. They're going to move the chains. And somebody's got to punch those touchdowns in. And somebody's got to drive down the field on first and second down. Kyren gets a lot of hate. But last year, when they hate on him, they were wrong. They were wrong. He still got his, right? And now this year, he's RB 13 with an ADP of 31.6, a high and low of 26 to 41. So it's right about the spot where you want to take him there.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely wrong about him. I didn't have much of any of them last year. In fact, I was the one taking the backup, and I was taking a lot of the backups for these running backs that kind of get banged up a lot, and I got burned a bunch. So we'll see if it holds true this year. I mean, Kyron's been hurt like every year of his life. Last year, he stayed healthy for literally every single snap.
Yeah.
And of course, I had Blake Corum on every team. So,
right.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's gonna rack up points. So
yeah, it's just funny how we saw it last year, and it doesn't surprise you. And every week you're feeling good because Kyron's just putting up the numbers. He's just putting up numbers, and he's at the top of DFS salaries and things of this nature. Just all around, just like, okay, that's a stud player that you can pretty much count on every week, especially on a touchdown parlay. You put in Kyron, you're feeling pretty good. He comes through for you pretty much every week and all the time. And it just seems like everybody is still like, nope. Still, I'm not wrong on him. I'm going to go another year and pass and see what happens.
Yep, exactly.
So it is interesting how that happens. Let's go on to pick 4. This is you. Grind time. Justin Jefferson, Brock Bowers, T. Higgins. So Higgins falls to you, and you're the one that takes the plunge on Brock Bowers. And man, what a season he had last year. Let's talk about it. He's now got Geno Smith. He's got a better quarterback. And let's talk about the whole landscape of the Raiders for a second. You have Jacoby Myers. You have Ashton Genty. You have Brock Bowers. You have these basically 3 weapons. And so, and then you draft Jack Beck too. But there's not a lot else on the team besides those guys. And it seems like 112 catches last year, 1,194 receiving yards, only 5 touchdowns. That number could go way up with that kind of volume.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. They're, Chip Kelly's there now. They're going to have one of the most play volume in the entire NFL. Their defense isn't going to be good. They're going to be in shootouts. So I really like Bowers, but also the thing about Bowers is I want for that 3-week race, Scott, you got to put up monster points for 3 weeks to win that 150K. I want that tight end that can set me apart from other teams. I want that ability to really to crush it at the tight end position. I've got other, there's other ways to draft too. You could take your later tight ends and stream them and that type of thing. But I just feel like Bowers kind of can give you, and McBride too. I took McBride yesterday in the same spot in the third round though. I think that they can really set you apart. So I kind of like doing that this year specifically. Tight ends go a lot later in the FFWC. So yeah, you can still get like we'll see where Kittle falls and all that, but I just think Bowers is safe. And yeah, I went, heavy receiver tight end here. Again, you have to start the 3 receivers. I got literally heartbroken when we were talking on Breece Hall going all the way late in the 4th and getting picked right in front of me by Peanut Butter. That would have been my absolute dream pick in the 4th round. But I'll take Higgins and Waddle. Hope for some health. And I think, Johnny Smith leaving, I think opens up some targets for Waddle. Their defense stinks, right? They're going to be in shootouts. And if Tua can stay healthy, I think Waddle is ready to get back to his game breaking form that he had 2 years ago.
Yeah. I just found a typo. So looking at Bowers, again, it's like we don't want to believe what our eyes just saw. right?
And sorry to interrupt. Like we've been waiting to draft Bowers in Dynasty for 10 years, right? Everyone finally gets him. He comes out and he's as advertised. He's incredible, sensational. They get an upgraded quarterback, an upgraded offensive coordinator, and like you said, people don't want to believe it. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that he goes kind of as late as he does. I've seen him go in the third round.
Well, that's kind of my point. We used to take Travis Kelce freely in the first round and in early second. Remember that? I mean, that was happening in his prime. And Bowers, what did he do? He just set the rookie record for receptions with 112, the greatest tight end debut ever, right?
Yes.
40% of his snaps came from the slot. And, that's Geno's preference, there. He'll be fine. And 153 targets. So he's getting opportunities. And who was his quarterback last year, right? I mean, he's getting an improvement this year. So he led tight ends in routes with 530. He led it in air yards with 930 and yards after catch with 596. It's just insane volume. I think he's I've been wondering when people are going to wake up to the cheat code that you have there, this extra gap between. Now, again, maybe it's because there's a Trey McBride lurking and he puts up really good numbers too.
Yeah.
But those two, I think, are the cream of the crop, and McBride doesn't get enough love. He is really good too. And you're noticing it. It's the only two blue stickers on the board, second and third round, and we're already in the middle of the fifth. So,
and again, it depends on who's the last couple of drafts, I've been kind of at this end. And when the guys go that, basically if McConkey, Henry, Rice, if they're all gone, that's when I'm like, you know what? I don't love all the other players there at the end of the second. So I'm just going to take that tight end one, lock him in. I don't have to waste another pick on a tight end in the middle rounds when guys are jockeying for their tight end or sweating out, getting their tight end or whatever. I don't even have to worry about it. I can just keep pounding receiver, pounding running back, and just fill in Bowers every single week.
Yeah. This next team, Peanut Butter, Gary Allen. Gary Allen, a high-stakes veteran here at the FFWC and all around the industry, takes CeeDee Lamb with the 5th pick overall. And look, we all know what happened last year, right? You lose Dak Prescott and Lamb suffers, right? Still performs, but he's not what you wanted out of that pick. He finishes wide receiver 8 with 101 catches, 1,194 and 6, but it could have been so much better because in 2023 he showed what he could do with, and that's why he was going number 1 overall. You remember, he was the number 1, 135 receptions, 1,749 yards, and 12 touchdowns. I mean, flex. That's like Tyreek Hill numbers in his prime, 1,712 with 180 targets. So that's the Lamb that we're expecting now with Dak Prescott back. And they bring in George Pickens. So this combo might just be fierce if Dak really can just, here we go. We're talking about Dak Prescott. But you are drafting the quarterback when you draft the wide receiver. So you're drafting Dak Prescott with that pick, and you're saying, let's do this. Let's run this back, Dak Prescott. He takes Lamb. He takes Rashee Rice, who I absolutely love with that pick because he's practicing and he's fully healthy. He's in full ready. He's practicing with the team. So, okay, he's back. Rashee Rice is back. And look at the numbers he put up in those first 3 weeks last year before the injury. Then he brings back Trey McBride, Breece Hall, and then Chris Olave. We won't go that deep. But let's talk about CeeDee Lamb and Ray Rice there and that Trey McBride, that triple start there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we'll get Jerry on here. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite team so far is Peanut Butter. Listen, I like Lamb better than Jefferson, but I've got so much Lamb I have to diversify. So I love the Lamb pick.
There you go.
Rice would have been my pick in the second round over Bowers. McBride, I love McBride. I took McBride yesterday in the third round. Love McBride for all the reasons I kind of talked about Bowers and having that tight end. And then Breece Hall. Breece Hall is one of my favorite running backs this year, especially in the late third. To have him fall to the late fourth or mid kind of to late fourth is an awesome pick. And then Olave's fine too. I really like that start for Peanut Butter a lot for sure.
Yeah, let's bring Jerry on. It is a great start. And I think people are getting a steal there with Rashee Rice. Jerry Bryant, what's going on, brother? Daily Double is here. Daily Double.
Bring him up. Johnny Cash. Who's Johnny Cash?
Are you in the dark, Jerry?
What's going on?
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Well, good. That's better.
He's in the
But
dark.
yeah, this disease called stacking. Remember when there was COVID-19?
Yes.
There's a disease going around called stacking 19 now. And it's gotten out of hand, man. It's crazy. And I see a lot of veteran players in this draft, like Resistance is Futile and, Lucky Mike. And it's a different crowd here. So I'm not sure who the first pick is, who that is, but he looks like he tried to stack a little bit and then but it's I'm just amazed at how the stacking has gone crazy in redrafts this year. And I talked about it last year. I said, I think it's the best ball influence. There's so many leagues. There's millions or thousands of leagues, best ball, underdog. And that's carrying over into redrafts. And I think it's crazy.
Well, it's tournament. It's tournament. When you're trying to break a field with thousands of teams, right, Adam? When you have that many teams, you need to be a difference maker to kind of break out through the crowd. And so, especially when you're drafting a bunch of teams, you need that combo that goes ballistic. And we don't know if it's Dak or Lamb. We don't know if it's Mahomes or Rice. We don't know if it's Chase and Burrow. So when you get the chance to take that player, I think that's what's going on, right, Adam? They're trying to break out from the field and get lightning in a bottle, and they're willing to throw the team, not throw it away, but take it. It's like a shot. It's a bullet. It's a bullet.
Yeah, and like you said, you're hoping to catch that one or two games where that team goes crazy and you've got all those players. Again, it's much more valuable in best ball. And it's early too in the draft season for a lot of people, right? Like obviously we've been drafting for forever, but a lot of people are like, there's no camp news, there's no injuries. So it's like, you know what? There's no, the rankings are kind of stale. So we just kind of stack up one or two guys together, kind of help your team out.
Jerry, I agree with you though. I think what you're noticing and picking up on is you're seeing guys get passed over just so they can stack, and you're like, what? There's 5 wide receivers I would have taken there, or there's 5 running backs I would have taken, and you're seeing that happen. The quarterbacks, we're seeing that happen with Burrow, and they could take a better player there instead of the stack, and it really sacrifices your potential league opportunity when you're winning. You're going for bust, and so they're trying to win the tournament, but if they don't win the tournament because they're of the breakout stack, then they're probably not going to win the league either.
Yeah, and then you got the guys that try to block the stack, right? So they're
the blockers. Yes.
Yeah, they're picking a guy that they don't really want to pick, but they want to block the stack. When you got Chase and Higgins, and Dr. Roto says if you don't block that stack, then you're an idiot and you're going to lose the league. And so there's pressure on other guys to block these stacks by picking Burrow, so it's a new thing that's coming around, and it's been coming for the last couple of years. It's crazy, I think.
Yeah. Well, you are hitting onto something that is a phenomenon that is happening. Somebody in the chat here disagrees and says old people hate everything. Stacks equal racks. Surprised Jerry cannot figure out his PC. What is going on? What is all this hate here? My God.
That must be Chris Harry Mary Monks that put his, because he's always giving me a hard time about that.
Well, do you have any comment for him?
Yeah, that must be Harry Mary Monks.
Okay. So no comment.
No.
Okay. See, that's his mama raised him right, Adam. I mean, if you don't have anything nice to say,
that's right.
The team 6 here, Lucky Mike strikes. Mike Petrus, another high stakes veteran here at the FFWC, always involved in these leagues and always a force to be reckoned with. at the end. Let's take a look at his strategy here. He goes Malik Neighbors, who had a heck of a breakout in his rookie campaign. He goes Ladd McConkey, so two second-year guys. And look at this 0 RB start. Metcalf with Rodgers, Flowers, with Judy, and 6th round downs. He's went 6 wide receivers to start, Adam. This is circa 2024. This is like 2022, 2023 drafting right here. 6 wide receivers to start. And is that the way you remember when this was working? Is it working this year?
Well, it didn't work much last year because the guys that you were taking in the later rounds at running back didn't hit because unless you had Bucky Irving, because the starters didn't get hurt for all these running backs. So all the backups you were taking didn't hit, and there was an over amount of injuries to the top receivers last year. So, but it doesn't mean it's not. It's still, receivers get hurt less than running backs for sure. You need to start 3. You can start up to 5. The flex, when you get down to the flex area of running back versus receiver, receivers on average score more points in that range than the running backs drafted at ADP. So there are some reasons to do this, but and listen, to get Aaron Jones as your RB1 after 6 receivers, you could do worse than that. So again, got to stay healthy at running back to be able to make this work. And the other thing that people don't talk about is just because, the idea is to grab the running backs are going to get hurt. You grab them off waivers. You don't just get to take them off waivers. You got to fight for them, right? There's other guys that want the running backs on waivers too that you're competing with. It's a blind bid process. So you got to bid the right amount to get these guys. It's not as easy as it sounds, but I think it can certainly work. And I don't hate the picks and I don't hate the strategy, especially when you get Aaron Jones in the 7th round.
Jerry, are you a Malik Neighbors picker there at the 1-6 spot? Is that your guy, or do you pass on him for others?
Well, I drafted Neighbors like crazy last year, and I remember middle way through the drafting season, I started taking him in round 3, and I remember Leela saying, "Oh, you're crazy, man! What are you doing, man?" And then I took him in round 2, and then in Vegas, I took him with pick 11. And so, no, I'm a big Neighbors guy.
Yeah. Quick, name a Giants quarterback from last year.
That's what I'm saying. He did what he did last year with who he's got. Okay. Now the guys aren't that much better, but they're better. Okay. They're better than what he had last year. So he can only go up. I mean, how can he go down, based on what he had last year versus what he's got.
Drew Lock, Tim Boyle, Tommy DeVito. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And
led the league in targets, Adam. 11 targets per game. That led all wide receivers.
Yeah, he's a stud. There's different arguments to be made.
He commands the ball.
Yeah, there's different arguments to be made for all these guys. I mean, Neighbors, you're right. Better quarterback play, and he's going to get the ball a ton. Puka, same thing. Brian Thomas, awesome. Rapport with Trevor Lawrence. Like there's different avenues to get to all of these guys. So I think if you're a high volume drafter, just mix it up, take a little bit of everybody. That way, if there's injury, you're winning your whole portfolio. But I think there could be Neighbors. I'm perfectly fine with Neighbors in the 6th spot.
Isn't it just amazing seeing 3 LSU wide receivers in the top 6?
There you go.
And 4 in the top 9.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just thought of something I wanted to bring up. I was sitting here trying to figure out how to make my screen show up, but I can't figure that out. But it's funny. We all, every time we think about a player, the first thing we think about is why I don't want to draft him. Okay. Saquon Barkley. Oh, I don't want to draft him because he had the best year of any running back ever last year. So he's not going to do as good this year. Jamar Chase was the number 1 wide receiver. So I'm not going to pick him this year because there's no way he can do it. It's crazy if you think about it. And I think we all fall into this. We always think of reasons not to pick guys. Our first thought is, oh, I'm not going to pick that guy because of this and that. And you know, I think that's crazy. And sometimes you just have to say, okay, this guy's good. He's going to be good next year. Let's just pick him. And I was just thinking about that the other day. We're always thinking our first thoughts are, why not to pick this guy?
Yeah. Wise words. Wise words from Daily Double there. Saquon Barkley takes is finally you go from the league offensive leader there. Fozzie Dog takes him at the 1-7 pick overall, Adam. Saquon Barkley, 411 rushes, 2,400 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry, 18 touchdowns, 50 targets, 40 receptions, a monster. And it's hard for me to believe that we should let him fall to 7. I mean, there's something about it that just doesn't feel right unless we're just he's not going to repeat and do what he did last year. His ADP is 6.5, the highest he's been in any draft. He hasn't cracked the top 3. He's been 4. He hasn't ended the top 3. Isn't that amazing that after all these drafts, nobody has decided to take Barkley in the top 3?
That is pretty amazing. I also think, again, Jody wrote a great article on like what running backs, how to lead the league in rushing, and then kind of what attributes you need to have: age, health, team construct, but also what happens the following year. I think it's in the last 25 years, only the running backs to lead the league in rushing the following year have had 22 out of the 25 years have had a massive drop-off, average of 38% loss in yardage the following year. And every year we'll look and say the same thing. Oh, Larry Johnson, how could he not be in the top 5? Priest Holmes, Sean Alexander. Like, it's because they get the snot kicked out of him for 8. He went all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, the guy just finished playing. Points per game, I'm sure will be fine, but it's these injuries that build up, and it's just you're kind of splitting hairs, like you said. But give me a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs who's going to be healthier, or Bijan Robinson, or so something like that. And in this league, FFWC, you can get away with not taking Barkley because you do have to start the 3 receivers. So it's like, you know what? Maybe I'll go Neighbors. Puka's a bad example because the guy's always hurt too. But Puka, when he's healthy, maybe I'll go Puka. Maybe I don't think you want to get too crazy, but hey, if people want to get off of Barkley because of injury history or because of just the history of what happens to guys who lead the league in rushing, I think that's fine.
Yeah. The 10th most all-time touches, 482 touches, and he's missed multiple games in 4 of his 7 seasons. So it would be expected that, you play that hard, you run that hard, you're probably going to miss a little bit of time. So maybe finding maybe Will Shipley is a nice handcuff this year.
Yeah.
But also only 4 touchdowns scored inside the 5-yard line, which typically points toward regression, right? Because he's getting those touchdowns from further away, and then you got Jalen Hurts to contend with, and the tush push is back. So there are a lot of factors there, and I get it, but man, it's nice. And then Fozzie starts off with Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, Kamara. I mean, if you've ever talked about a theme of drafting picks there, look at that theme. Old, big, reliable veteran running backs that just seem to get it done. But man, you would think you want to shake it up there, but he's just like, nah, I'm good with these guys. I trust them.
Yeah, what do you think of that start, Jerry? Because I know Fozzie loves this. He did this last year. It was all he had the one draft where we all made fun of him because he came into the FFWC where you got to take receivers early. He went 4 straight running backs and absolutely dominated that specific draft. And now it looks like every draft he's doing, he's coming in, getting all these running backs. What do you think, Jerry?
He's doing it every draft. And, I have been thinking about, I'm so wide receiver, heavy. It makes me want to throw up when I go through 4 rounds and not take a wide receiver. But, Fozzie's one of the best that's ever played this game.
Absolutely.
And so you gotta, Harry Mary Monks did the same thing last year. He'd go 5 straight running backs. I don't know how that worked out, but
last year probably did well. to be honest with you.
Yeah, last year was the year to do that. But man, I just can't do it. I'm just so stuck on this, you know,
Hmm.
the format here of 3 wide receivers and 2 flex. We're always trying to get, 5 wide receivers in there.
Yeah.
Guys, this is just a big, you know, FFWC is a big home league, right?
Yes. Yep.
It's a huge home league of a bunch of players, right? We all know each other, and you think about it like a DFS. You can go do a $25 multi-million or whatever they call them, where there's 10 million people joining, right? And you got a very little chance of winning, but if you win, you're going to win a lot. But here, it's a smaller field, and it's almost like a single entry, right? We got a smaller field, so there's a better chance of winning, right? The big pot. And I think that's the lure. I mean, the best thing about this site is we all know each other. It's a smaller pool. We're not playing against 10,000 other people, so we all got a chance. And so
And it's fun too, especially when you go out to Vegas and you meet everybody and see everybody, and after drafting against each other all spring and summer. And yeah, you know how many times I'll have people texting me during drafts or whatever. Everyone knows what everybody's going to do, who their favorite players are. It's so fun. You don't get that on other sites.
no.
So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, the other sites, it's like you're drafting against a bunch of robots.
Right.
And which is basically what it is, because it's guys you don't know any of them, right? I mean, there's 100 times as more people. So
it's definitely in June and early July. It's like that last week of July is like a hockey stick on a chart, right? It spikes up. Everybody starts to show up. Preseason starts, and everybody that plays then shows up and starts drafting their team. But these guys have been here all along and know everybody's moves. And so these people start to trickle in. It's like sitting down at the poker table at the local casino, and where 8 of the guys everybody knows, and then here comes the one guy. And what is it about rounders when Mike McDermott says, if you can't spot the sucker in the first 10 seconds at the table,
you're the sucker.
You are the sucker, right? I mean, it's just like everybody knows, like, okay, we know what's happening here. Fozzie Dog starts off with the running backs and then hits the wide receivers. Team ASTS. This is William Meyer, your reigning fantasy football world champion. He was cut a check for $150,000 and then some. Congratulations, William Meyer. We hope to see you in Vegas this year, brother. Puka Nacua at the 1-8 spot, followed by a slew of running backs. McCaffrey at 2-5, maybe the latest. Let's check out the advanced ADP tool. McCaffrey, the furthest that he fell before this draft was 14. So that was the furthest he has fell in any Circa Las Vegas Fantasy Ship draft is tonight at the 2-5. He goes Jonathan Taylor, which is another stud there if he can stay healthy. Amarian Hampton with a rookie. Travion Henderson with a rookie. Gets Caleb Johnson, another rookie. Look at this. Egbuka, Higgins, Harris, 3 more rookies to pair up with Jaden Daniels. So he is swinging for the fences here. He is going for untapped upside. We don't know what those players' upsides are at that point in the draft, and he's taking the stability of those first 3 picks and wrapping it around a whole bunch of upside with rookies, guys. That's a game theory move, Adam. It's just all game theory.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big Puka guy this year. If he stays healthy, he's gonna smash again. McCaffrey's an interesting one where we're getting kind of to the you don't have to even handcuff him because you took 5 running backs. But listen, it's a big game theory move. I don't. It's going to be hard though. Again, you're starting Jaden Higgins. You're starting Puka at wide receiver. I love Trey Harris. I was hoping to actually take him here with this last pick, but he took him. It's going to be hard. Again, you're going to need all 4 of those. You're going to need 4 of those 5 running backs to smash, because Higgins and Egbuka and Harris, It's just, Scott, how hard it is. I mean, that's why you made this format the way that you did. Like, it's just like he can't even start his 7th round pick.
Yeah.
And his second receiver is probably by far the worst second receiver in the entire draft. And his third receiver is worse than most people's 5th receiver. So it's going to have to all go perfectly for him. But
unless Egbuka is actually better than McMillan, which a lot of people think he is, and he slots in while we're waiting on Chris Godwin to come back in those first 4 to 6 weeks, sort of asserts his dominance, and he just slides right in and is a major player there. Now, again, that's the theory that he's banking with here on this build, and it's a lot to put on one player's shoulders in the 8th round. So I love the Puka pick it's just kind of a no-brainer at this point, right? After a rookie season with 90 catches, he comes back with 105. After a rookie season with 1,100 yards, he comes back with 1,300 yards. I mean, this guy is just so amazing. How in the world these fantasy or these NFL teams let him slip that far? Beyond me, but McVay is laughing all the way to the bank here. And look, it's an anchor play here. It's a strategy that probably is going to need a lot of things to work.
But guys, team 8 what is that? ASTS.
Yeah.
Okay, go buy that stock right now, because that's what his team name is. He does team names with stock numbers. So
there you go.
This guy is
okay. good stock tip.
Yeah, and he's the world champ. And
nice.
Adam, I remember at the beginning of last year we did one of these shows, and I was in South Padre Island, and we were talking about how Mr. Meyer would drive Jack Colsheen crazy because he was all over the place on his drafts and stuff.
Oh, that stock is up 25% on the year, 116% or the month, 116% in 6 months, and it's up 4% today. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Little Easter eggs in our draft board. Who knew?
Look at that.
But my point is, this guy, you got to be different. One of the most brilliant drafters and football guys I've ever known is Mr. Snake, Glenn Carrot. And he says, fuck ADP. If you're sitting here drafting ADP, you're probably not going to win the big pot, right? And well, at least that's my opinion. But Mr. Meyer, that's what he did last year. He would just throw everybody for a loop in every draft, and he was contrarian. And that's what I think, to win the big ones, that's what you've got to be. You can't be just like everybody else.
I agree, and it's an ADP thing, but eventually you have to fall into the structure too. Like, anything can work, right? If Puka could certainly be the wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. McCaffrey could certainly be the RB1. If Puka and McCaffrey are the RB1 and the wide receiver 1, the rest of it's going to probably fall into place. But that's what you need out of 2 injury-prone guys, and then you can't even start your 7th round pick. I mean, he's going to come back and go 8 straight receivers, which is the right thing to do. But it just makes it harder, right? It just makes it harder to kind of have it work. But listen, I'm sure he's not doing this every single draft. Have some fun with it. Get some guys that you really want. I mean, he got great value on McCaffrey, great value on Jonathan Taylor, like, Jaden Daniels in the 6th, fine, so we'll see.
BSOL, bright side of life, another FFWC veteran here. Frank Shinnick has done very well in the red versus blue format over the years. Brian Thomas Jr., there's that LSU wide receiver. A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison, Jameson Williams, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, another 0 RB build. Let's see what he puts together here. 7th round, Pacheco. 8th round, ETN. 9th round, Spears. 10th, Purdy. 11th, Ray Davis. Okay, well, look, he's taking a gamble with those running backs that they're going to put up enough points there, because why would he fade a running back? Let's see, 2nd round, I get it. You want to stack a couple wide receivers. 3rd round, he's hoping maybe one of those comes on and makes it, but they don't. 4th round, it's definitely if you don't like Kamara there, which I totally get, I can see why you don't take Hampton. I wouldn't let Breece Hall go, I don't think, at 4-8 with that wide receiver start. I mean, what are the chances that Jameson Williams scores more points than Breece Hall this year?
Right. And you could have gone running back. You know what I mean? Like you had 3. I get again, this is a 0 RB. He gets his elite tight end. Usually with the 0 RB, you want to get an elite tight end or an elite quarterback. If you can do both, but it's a little bit harder. And then you stock up on the running backs. And so, but I think maybe if you go back and if you look back on it, maybe he loves Pearsall. If it had known he was going to get Pearsall, would he have taken Breece Hall in the 4th round? That's the type of stuff that you just don't know. But look, Kittle, Pearsall, Purdy gets that stack that Jerry absolutely loves. But listen, Pacheco, Etienne, Spears, Davis, he's just looking for that injury to another running back. He's going to probably take a couple more running backs here. Again, it's here. This is what 0 RB looks like. But I would have definitely gone. I mean, I'm a big Breece Hall guy. I like Kamara. I probably would have gone running back there and been super happy with my start with the 3 receivers.
Yeah, and by the way, I saw a stat that showed Marvin Harrison actually performed better, ever so slightly. It was almost identical, but ever so slightly than his father, Marvin Harrison, in his rookie campaign. I was floored by that. Same amount of touchdowns, 1 less catch, but more yards.
Yeah,
it was more yards, and it was like, okay, Dad, I think we basically did the same, and so he is on trajectory. Look, a lot of wide receivers don't have the rookie year that you hope. Megatron, Calvin Johnson, when he came into the league, everybody knew what he was, but it didn't translate on the field in year 1. It translated in year 2. That's what people are hoping for out of Marvin Harrison this year. There's a lot about that offense that we need to talk about, really, at the end of the day, for this to happen. It's not all about individual talent, but it's about the coaching staff, the offensive coordinator, the connection with Kyler. All of that has to gel for him to perform, worthy. But we saw flashes. We saw flashes where he was the alpha on the field, but we saw huge gaps where we were like, whoa, was he on the field?
Right. No, I completely agree. That's a guy that I've kind of tossed and turned over. And so we'll see. I'll get my shares of him. But yeah, I like that Marvin Harrison stat's great.
Jerry, who are you more excited about this year, Marvin Harrison or Ricky Pearsall?
Well, probably Harrison. If you remember last year, I did, I think, 50 drafts, and I never drafted Harrison until the 50th draft in Vegas, and it didn't turn out too good. But,
probably your biggest draft too.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, I don't remember anything after the 2nd pick. But,
no, I remember that draft.
Yeah, but yeah, Pearsall round 7. I don't know. Is it Jennings? Is it Pearsall? Yeah. And then what happens? I don't think Ayuk's going to play the first 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I mean, some people say he is. I don't think he is. So what happens when Ayuk comes back? It's that's a weird situation there. Jennings, who's a real good football player, right? And Pearsall, I mean, I don't know what to do there.
Well, there's no Debo also, so bye one of your wide receivers, so that makes a little bit more room for Pearsall. He did make most of his stats happen in the latter part of that year there, but there's a lot to like about his situation. And then Adam, there may be something here where you can play a Ricky Pearsall, especially like Jerry said, in the beginning of the season, where he's going to probably have a more prominent role before Ayuk comes back, and it sort of starts settling in there with Ayuk, Kittle, Juwan Jennings, a lot of mouths to feed there for Purdy. Maybe there's something there where it's like, okay, Pearsall makes a lot of sense for that early start of the season play, and then you have some kind of a rookie that takes a little bit of time to start to develop that could maybe plug in later, as he starts to roll.
Yeah, I really like a nice like a Pearsall Ayuk stack, right? Like in that case, you're hoping for Ayuk to not come back till week 4. right? And then you can rock the Pearsall points. I think it'll be a little bit of everyone, right? It'll be because Debo's gone, right? So you get the Pearsall and Jennings can both hit. That's why Kittle's the tight end 3 this year because he's going to move up because there's no Debo. I think when Ayuk comes back, if everyone's healthy, it gets a little bit grimy in there. But I think at the beginning of the season, I think if you've got the pieces in there in that Niners offense, I think you'll be fine. I'm overweight on Ayuk right now. I read today that he might be back by week 1, but I don't know. A lot of times you hear that at this time of year, and then especially when you've got Pearsall and Jennings and Kittle and McCaffrey.
Yeah, why rush?
You don't need to rush him back. Exactly.
Right. It's like Godwin. You're not gonna rush Godwin back until he's ready.
Right. Exactly. So we'll see.
That's another question. You guys think Godwin will be back in week 1?
No.
Yeah, me either. Again, that's where they drafted Ibuka so early. I think that they'll take their time with him and get him back slowly. And
yeah, there's been a lot of mixed signals from that camp the entire way. At first, he was going to be back. At first, he was trajectory. Maybe even coming back late in the season. Remember that? It was like, whoa, what are you talking about? No, that's not going to happen. And then, sure enough, then it's okay. We're gonna be patient. We're gonna be patient. And okay.
Yeah. Why rushing back when they got so many good receivers?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they want to make that. They know what worked for Baker. This is working for Baker. And that worked for Brady too. Surround them with talent and let this offense do its thing. And it did very well. Did very well last year. So overperformed expectations.
I got a question for you guys. What do you think about the Barkley Hurst stack, where you're going to get like probably 25 minimum rushing touchdowns?
I absolutely love it. I was in a auction league, a high stakes auction league last year in Vegas. And I was calling it with a buddy, and he wanted Barkley in the worst way. I said, fine, but we have to get Hurts for that exact reason. I don't want to be freaking furious when my $5,000 auction league and I'm watching Jalen Hurts run in 1 yard touchdown after 1 yard touchdown, and he didn't want to do it. And we didn't get Hurts. Now, we ended up with a really great team. We did really well, but I wanted him for the exact same reason. Then I don't worry about, because no running back gets tackled more at the 1 yard line, and this is an actual statistic, than a Philadelphia Eagles running back with Hurts at quarterback. DeAndre Swift would be coasting into the end zone. He'd trip and fall on his face at the 1 yard line. Like, these guys, Hurts is the luckiest quarterback. And listen, I drafted him tonight. Wonderful, great. The guy averages like 25 pass attempts a game, and he's a top 3 quarterback. Why? Because he just gets 16 1 yard rushing scores every year. So back to your point, I love the idea of taking both of those guys.
So how many rushing touchdowns do you think they'll get?
30.
30.
Yeah,
30?
Hurts gets 12. Hurts gets 12, I would say. Barkley gets
15.
They combine for 30, I'm telling you.
I think 25 is a safe number. 30 is an aggressive. Yeah, 30 is an aggressive number. And
then you throw in maybe Devontae Smith. So that now you get Hurts pass touchdowns and receiving touchdowns. Right?
Mm-hmm. I like Shipley as a nice handcuff.
Jerry, hold on a minute, Jerry. You're talking about a stack now.
Jerry,
what are we doing here? Come on.
The stack is the devil, remember? Resistance is futile. Here we go. Resistance is futile. This is Scott Lawrence and Jim Budzik, FFWC veterans. Do very well in this format. They've got a lot of history here at Red versus Blue, and let's take a look at what they put together here. Ashton Genty, the rookie, at 110. Garrett Wilson with Justin Fields, the connection, at 2-3. The veteran Mike Evans at 310. Kenneth Walker at 4-3. So they're filling the spots. They're putting that lineup together so that they can put out the Calvin Ridley at 510. Untapped upside with the rookie quarterback. We don't know. With a volume receiver like Ridley to last till wide receiver 35, I think that's a dream scenario. Jacoby Myers, very steady Eddie as your wide receiver 4, I'm sorry. And then Matt Golden. Look at this. Look at this team. Golden walks into a golden opportunity in Green Bay. I've talked to a high-stakes player recently who thinks he's walked into the best situation out of any of those players that stepped into the draft and on draft night, where they told me that they feel like he is the most talented wide receiver day one in the Green Bay wide receiver room, Adam.
Maybe because they don't have that alpha stud there, but they've got a lot of depth there. I know Dobbs had some great success there. Christian Watson, when he's healthy, they're not going to, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field when he's healthy. He's never healthy, but he could certainly step in. But I think they're similar to the Bills where they like to spread the ball around. Now, they have more talent at the skill positions than the Bills do, but I really think they like to spread the ball around. So it'll be interesting to see. But certainly I could see Golden. I just wasn't a huge Golden fan kind of coming out of college. So there's always that. But I should certainly see it happening where he comes in and takes over.
Yeah, I like this team. I like the way they look. Again, they're filling spots. Evan Ingram in Denver now with Bo Nix. There's nothing not to like about that. We saw what he can do in Jacksonville. He'll just do the same. He's a volume guy too, and he'll put together. He's a receiver, as a tight end, so that works out well. He gets Bo Nix. He's stacking that little combo there. Yeah, look, he's got the pieces. And Genty is the wild card here, right? Genty is the one that says, okay, how is this coaching staff? They paid for him. They paid a huge price in the draft. So you could venture a guess that they're going to feature him, because here are the categories that he led in college football: attempts 313, rushing yards 2,287, touchdowns 28, yards after contact 5.42, missed tackles force 125. First downs, 106. Breakaway yards, 1,247. Okay, this is Pete Carroll chewing the gum. He's going to watch this kid roll. You could see it if he has a 50-catch season with his skill set, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him just roll offensively with him and Bowers making that offense in Vegas. That's an exciting offense all of a sudden.
For sure. And I love Garrett Wilson. That's probably the highest I've seen him go, wide receiver 10, but he wasn't going to get him, at the end of the third. So fine. Kenneth Walker, I really like this year. Again, they're going to the zone, outside zone rushing scheme there in Seattle, and that's his bread and butter. I love Jacoby Myers. You know how I feel about Myers. And so, nice, solid spot.
That is the earliest he went. The earliest he had went before was 19, but like exactly what you said, he wouldn't make it back because the latest that he had went is 30. So if you believe in that Justin Fields connection with Garrett Wilson, with all those vacated targets to go around there, and he's the alpha on the field. There's nothing else to really throw to. Mason Taylor, a rookie. I mean, that's what you've got right now in the New York Jets. So they're gonna get the ball to Garrett Wilson often. Pirate Monkeys is the 11 hole here. Pirate Monkeys is Sean Medlin. I don't know if Terry is joining him also. Terry Tadugno, his co-manager. But here we go. From the 11 hole, Achane, Drake London, DJ Moore, Tet McMillan, the rookie for Carolina, James Conner, who everybody's ready to dismiss, but Trey Benson didn't have a chance to unseat him last year, so I don't know why that would be any different this year. Travis Hunter, another shot. He's taken a couple of shots with rookie wide receivers. Tony Pollard, Jaden Reed. There you go. That's the squad. And then he gets his tight end, Kincaid. He gets Kyler Murray. So what do you think?
I like the strategy of if you're not going to get those elite guys at quarterback or tight end to kind of wait and then just kind of double tap them. Kincaid, Kraft, fine. One of those guys will probably pop. Murray, maybe he comes back with another quarterback here. I like Murray. It's QB 15. Again, I like taking those elite guys if I can. I get Jalen Hurts as QB 5 in the 7th round, but like Murray is QB 15 in the 14th round. That's pretty awesome too.
He's going to take Bryce Young at some point because he believes in that offense. He took Leggett,
McMillan,
and he took McMillan. So there's nobody else that's going to benefit from taking Bryce Young but him. I mean,
So nice well-rounded team gets the handcuff, Achane and Jalen Wright. Where are you, Jerry? If you're still with us, where are you with the Dolphins' backfield? There, are you Achane guy, or does it not matter to you?
I go back and forth, but when Jonnu left, I think that helps him. And
Yes. Agreed.
he's a chain is a freak, and he's a league winner type. Honestly, I couldn't believe he stayed healthy all last year as much as they ran him. So we'll see what happens this year. I think his backup is a real good pick because, I'm not a big fan of the coach, but I think he has enough sense to understand that you can't run him as much as they did last year.
Yeah.
So Jay Wright, it should be a good pick. But man, Achane, he's a freak, man. I'm telling you, he's a league winner.
Yeah, he's a league winner. Here's the thing about Achane. When you're talking about head-to-head wins, he can burn you, right? Because he is kind of boom or bust, and there's a lot of stats that'll show you that he, off again, on again type games where he comes out, he'll pop you 35. The next week he could pop under 10. But he's a 78 catch guy. That leads all running backs in receptions by 10. It's not even close. Kamara was second with 68. Third was Bijan with 61. So he is getting dumpers from Tua because, again, that offensive line is one of the worst in the league, which is crazy to me that you can have Tua who is so susceptible to a career-ending sack or a career-ending hit, and you still haven't improved this offensive line. It's bottom 10. It's one of the worst. But you give Achane all these dumpers, right? 78 dumpers, 200 rushes, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns, big plays. And here you go. Anybody that's going to have that many catches is an automatic, top 10 running back, regardless of what other stats he puts up. So Mostert is gone, and they didn't really add a lot of competition to that room. So, you can talk about Jalen Wright. You can talk about, the rookies that are behind him. The pick with Achane really hinges on Tua, because if Tua isn't there,
correct,
really, can you really trust that offense to do anything?
No. And that was the problem last year. I had no one had more Achane than me. I kept taking him in the 3rd round. Tua gets hurt, and he, is like you said, he's boom or bust. But also too, Achane, I like the idea of him being a league winner, but it's hard to be a league winner in the 1st round. Like, you got to be incredible to be a league winner. Like, you're taking him at his peak. You take him at the end of the 1st. Yeah. And also he got very unlucky last year. He had very few, I forget what it was, 3 or 4 carries over 20 yards, maybe even plays over 20 yards last year. Yeah. If that gets where it should be, he could, again, if Tua stays healthy and he keeps getting his catches, he could have a monster year.
It's not only Tua. He is the team's 3rd wide receiver. There's Tyreek, there's Waddle, there's nothing else, right? You bring in Darren Waller, okay? You bring in Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Maybe he's the one that kind of could steady that position there. But again, regardless, he is the wide receiver 3. And so when Tyreek misses time, it's more Achane. If Waddle misses time, it's more Achane. So it's not just it's any injury there, besides Tua. I think Tua needs to stay upright. Although Zach Wilson is an improvement over what they had last year, right? They didn't have a backup quarterback.
Scott, no.
Come on now. Come on. Hey, he got $8 million. He got $8 million bucks, or what was it? $8 million. That's QB2 money. That's QB2 money. He's back in the game. I'm a Zach Wilson truther, okay? And by the way, this is a Mitchell and Ness, Aaron Glenn, bro. They had a sale. Mitchell and Ness had a sale, bros, on this throwback. Aaron Glenn, brother. I can't trust. I can't. There's not a lot of players I can trust. So I'm trusting the coaching staff.
Well, I want y'all to talk about the last team, one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do that right now. Big Booty Nanny. Big Booty Nanny, Andy P. Andy P has always historically is the first sign up at the FFWC forever and ever. This is the person that anchors the high stakes world of the Fantasy Football World Championships. Shout outs to Andy P.
Wow.
Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 112. Nico Collins at the 2-1. You got to love that start. Cortland Sutton, because again, running backs are dry at this point. If you don't take a running back in the first two, you're not going to like what's there at the 3-4 turn. Adam.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, in this draft, I might have Brees Hall being there at the 3-4.
You would take Brees Hall at the 3-4 turn?
Oh yeah,
all day long.
Oh, especially when you start Brown and Collins. I mean, I know Andy loves Sutton, great, but I would have taken a running back there with one of those. Again, fine. He's going to come back. He's going to get Harvey, Warren, Tootin, Guerrero, Shipley. It's a hero RB team. Does a great job being his elite QB. Ends up with QB1 like in the 6th round, which is really nice. And then so I think he's probably very happy with it. And I think it's fine. I would have gone. I would have gone Brees Hall at the 3-4, but fine. No worries. I'm on Brown. St. Brown Collins is a really nice start. Really safe, nice start.
Yeah, look, we have Brees Hall at 17. We weren't thrilled with the way that coaching staff utilized him last year. The offensive line, there are some improvements being made. Of course, you bring in this whole slew of Detroit offensive coaching staff along with Aaron Glenn, but they are still talking about a committee approach here with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis and maybe lighten the load. He was even a target of trade talks all for the last couple of months before and leading up to the draft and around the draft. And so it was like a lot of mixed signals there. So, appropriately, Jody has him at RB 17, and maybe that's a little low. Maybe I could see him, performing better than that. But if you're on the turn, you're looking at like RB 13 or so is where what's available. So it's not out of line to go ahead and take a Brees Hall if that's the play. There's other options here. He could have taken Kenneth Walker. Not a real big fan of that. You could have taken Kamara. Not a big fan of that. So I understand why somebody would go, okay, forget it. The two tight ends aren't there. Forget it. Let's just stack some reliable wide receivers. Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin. I mean, it's very steady. It's very reliable. There's not a lot to dismiss there, Jerry. I mean, get your running back somewhere else.
What do you guys think about Tet McMillan? And the reason I ask is because about a month ago, Dr. Roto, I drive around on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I listen to him, and he said in August and early September, McMillan will be going in round 3 or 4. And this was back when he was being drafted in round 6. So, and I'm like, what do you think about this guy? Is that 4-2 or where he was picked there? Is that a good spot for him? Is that too early, or what's the thoughts?
So again, picking on the ends is tough, Jared. Like if you pick, like if you want your guys, you want certain builds, you kind of got to go and get your guy because he wasn't going to make it back to him. I like him. I love him as a prospect. If you look, they're going to be terrible. Their defense is going to be terrible. And people are, I think what Robbie Dr. was talking about, is people are going to start to dig in to these offenses and be like, you know what? The new upgrade there in Carolina at the coaching staff, Bryce Young was pretty good the last 6 or 7 weeks. Like, okay, who's the number one receiver? It's Tet McMillan. He's going to get a bunch of targets. You can certainly see him being there at wide receiver 23 to 24 and finishing there for sure. I think he's an awesome player, but he's in a tier with, a bunch of other guys for me too. Like I'm sure Andy's mixing it up there too. You get Devonta Smith, Waddle, Worthy, Sutton, who he took as well, Zay Flower. It's just a big group of guys. We'll draft enough where it can kind of mix it up. I know he's a big Carolina guy, so I'm okay with him there in that group of receivers.
Yeah, this is Teti Roa. Teti Roa. They call him T-Mac at Arizona, Jerry. 6'4", 220, 4.5 40. Okay, you're talking about size, speed. I can understand why Dr. Roto likes, because he was the number one wide receiver in the class, even over Travis Hunter, who was drafted ahead of him. Fine, but Ted McMillan was the number one receiver in the class. You're giving Bryce Young something to play with here, and this is going to change that offense. It's going to make it way more dynamic. They need it. They need a shot of dynamic in the arm, right? Because that offense, Chuba Hubbard and Xavier Legette, if you were hoping for a Xavier Legette break, well, no, Ted McMillan is a cornerstone player in the fantasy football world, right? When you're talking about dynasty players and they talk about cornerstone rankings, you're looking at the young youth of the last several years. Ted McMillan slots in there as like a top 12 player overall over the last 3 years of rookie classes. So that's the type of player they're getting. Now, are they going to utilize him the right way? That's the question. Is that coaching staff going to understand and be able to make things happen? Well, they're banking on that improvement that you saw last year with Bryce Young. So I'm totally fine with that. Now, would I pass on Terry McLaurin with Jaden Daniels? Probably not. Would I pass on Cortland Sutton with Bo Nix? Probably not, because they both got shots in the arm with both of those quarterbacks. So there's a lot less questions I have to have go right by taking Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin. I'm fine with missing out on maybe an explosive Ted McMillan out of the blue with Bryce Young. I would much more bank on Sutton stability there at that wide receiver 3 spot. Probably it's a little more boring. And then Terry McLaurin, fellow Indiana guy here, Indianapolis. What's up?
I agree with that too. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong team. I thought we were talking about Team 12, and then took McMillan. Andy didn't take McMillan; he took McLaurin. So I was talking about Andy's team. But yeah, no, I mean, still the same thing as McMillan. But I like McLaurin over McMillan there also.
Yeah, at first I was like, well, Jerry, we could talk about Ted McMillan. It's fine. It's fine. But I can see that, the way I rationalize it is, should he have been part of the conversation at that 12 hole? When he was taking those 2 wide receivers there. And I'm fine with Sutton and McLaurin. And then I love the Harvey pick, because I love the coaching staff in Denver, and they know how to utilize an RB like Harvey. I think that is the flyer pick that you want to make on this team to anchor your RB backfield. Perfectly fine with that. Plus you get Lamar, you're getting plus points there. Then he fires back at another wide receiver, because this is the right pick. This is the right play. It doesn't have to be that wide receiver, but the position of wide receiver in this format at the 7-12 spot, I believe, is the right play. People say, well, you need that RB2. Go ahead and stack. No, you need to make your strength stronger. And you've already banked on the fact that you're going to start wide receivers and you're going to rotate an RB2. You're not going to try to save the day with an RB2 here. You're going to make your strengths stronger, right? And you're going to start 5 wide on everybody. And Khalil Shakir is a nice play as your wide receiver 5. Let's go. Let's go.
I agree with that. 100% on that. Make your strengths stronger, especially because you can get those kind of running backs later on, as we're talking about. So,
Another question, guys. Sorry,
yes,
I keep interrupting y'all. Okay, we're talking about concussions. Okay, last year, I went big time into Miami guys, and the Tua concussions derailed all that. So what do you think about Olave? Because he's 1 concussion away from being out of the league.
That's right.
And I'm really worried about drafting him.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's baked into his price. I mean, he's going 6th round, wide receiver 32.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's baked in. I mean, the terrible quarterback play is baked in. But the same things you could say about, Ted McMillan, you could say about a lot. Like, we know Olave is a great receiver.
Yeah.
Terrible defense, plays in a dome, good weather, going to have to be in shootouts, same division with other defenses that are terrible. So if Olave stays healthy, he definitely outplays wide receiver 30 to 32. But yeah, the concussion thing's always there for sure. You just hope that he doesn't do it. And worst case, he's your 6th round pick late 5th.
Yeah.
And you just kind of move on.
I think he's being drafted too high, Jerry. If you want the honest truth for me, he is wide receiver 34 in the advanced ADP tool here at 59. But you look at the names around him: Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, Pickens. All of those for me, volume for Ridley with an explosive quarterback with untapped upside in Cam Ward. George Pickens has Dak Prescott coming into a new situation, but he's very talented. He is on that tier of being a wide receiver one, and he has Dak Prescott with Lamb commanding most of the attention. I really like that situation for him. And then you look at the receivers being drafted after him. Juwan Jennings showed what he could do last year. Travis Hunter, you could make a case there where I may take Olave over Travis Hunter. I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air with that. But Jordan Addison after that, I'm banking on the coaching staff when I'm taking Jordan Addison. I believe in O'Connell and what they're doing there more than I believe in. Now, by the way, I'm a Louisville guy, and Tyler Shuck was my guy at Louisville, but he is now your QB1. And there's Tyler Shuck versus Spencer Rattler. Let me see. No, it's Tyler Shuck, okay? So Shuck, I think, will get the job, but he has a lot of pressure on him to kind of learn. And the NFL game is totally different. He's not going to be worried about – I can't imagine he's going to have the kind of season where he can just pepper the ball to Olave. He's going to have to work with the offense, be part of the offense, make everything work around him with the backfield and the tight ends and making everybody happy. And just here comes the NFL, the defense at you. You know, it's like that's a lot of pressure for a kid like him. And he is older, by the way. He is older, but I don't want my wide receiver here at wide receiver 34. That's a 3, your wide receiver 3 with all those question marks. Plus, like you said, one hit away and a concussion from his career being over. So there's Jacoby Myers being drafted after him. There's Cooper Kupp being drafted after him. Khalil Shakir. I will take all those guys over Olave this year, and I'll give Olave 1 year to just sort of, and that whole New Orleans offense to sort of shake out before I spin and bank on that to be my wide receiver 3. Yep, that's it.
I mean, as long as he can pepper it to Alvin Kamara, I mean, that's
that's going to happen. That's going to happen because that's your check down. That's your check down and your safety net, your dumpers. When you're a young quarterback and you're getting rushed by the NFL, Kamara is actually in a good spot. He's undervalued. He's always undervalued. Yeah. Nobody likes drafting older guys, older backs. That's not what you don't really have a feel good around drafting older backs, but I don't mind an Alvin Kamara at all. All right, guys, it's time to pick the winners in the league. Jerry, Adam, we're looking at these squads. You're trying to pick around who looks like they're built to win the League of 12. That's all we care about is winning the Red versus Blue League here. RVB2 title is on the line. Jerry, who do you got? What team stands out to you to win this thing?
Well, there's 2 guys I trust in fantasy football, Dr. Roto and Andrew Palermo. And
wow. That is high praise.
No disrespect to you guys, but
oh yeah, none taken.
And Dr. Roto says the number 1 spot has a huge advantage this year. And if you look at the number 1 spot here, I tend to agree. To me, the number 1 spot here is the best team.
He's got Burrow, Chase Brown, James Cook, Scatabo, and Benson as his 3 and 4. Braylon Allen as his 5. Chase Adams Worthy. Burden, part of that new Chicago offense. And Romeo Dobbs, along with Laporta and Joe Burrow. Yeah, with Tyler, it's a solid squad. It's a very solid squad, Jerry. Very solid squad. Adam.
It's solid for sure. I don't agree with the number 1 over. I mean, I've also heard that people think that there's 15 first-round picks this year. So it's a deep first round. So, I mean, I think Chase is safe, but I don't think he necessarily gives you some massive advantage over the field. I love Team 5 again. I think that I love the players. I love the build. And he sniped me a bunch of times. Gets Mahomes in the 9th. I just think it's
Mahomes in the 9th. I mean, think about that. Look at that. Mahomes in the 9th and Kelsey in the 9th. This is crazy.
With Rashee Rice to kind of stack with Mahomes. So
who is the team?
Peanut Butter team.
Gary Allen. Gary Allen.
Oh, Gary Allen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I really like that team for sure.
All right, and then I guess if I had to put my money on a team, Ooh, I'm putting money on a squad. I'm scanning. I'm scanning. I tell you, I think I like what Resistance is Feudal done. I think I like what he did. I think I like what he put together. I mean, Mike Evans is not a wide receiver 2, but he's his wide receiver 2. He's got Calvin Ridley. Jacoby's a safety net at wide receiver 4. Golden is an upside flyer that you're taking your shot. Look, if you're going to take a shot, I prefer to take a shot in like the 7th round and not the 2nd or the 3rd. The 2nd round right here is a money round, and you want to make sure you nail it. He definitely nailed it. Garrett Wilson is perfectly fine, belongs in that tier and category. Evans, he's getting a 2nd round talent in the 3rd round just because of age. Nobody likes to take him. Kenneth Walker, you know what? It's a safety. You could sub that out with Breece Hall. It's basically the same guy.
Well, you know what I like? I like it better, Scott, is Walker, he's got Charbonnet. So he's locked into an RB1 no matter what. Locked into an RB1 because when Walker went down last year, Charbonnet was a stud.
Yeah.
So you lock that in. For sure.
I like the 16th round selection with T-Law as an upside flyer with an improved offense. He also stacks him with Brenton Strange as a tight end in case something happens to Evan Ingram. There's some familiarity there with Brenton Strange there. Jalen Royals is another flyer. Again, he's taking his flyers late. He also has Blake Corum sneaky in the 14th round just in case something happens to Kyron. Corum, maybe it's Corum year 2. Look, there's a lot of good teams here. We could have picked a lot of them. There's several of them that are in contention. It should be a fun league. Thank you, as always, to everybody that jumped into Red versus Blue. We appreciate you. Good luck to all of you. And, tomorrow night, drafting again. We're going to load up the lobby, make sure it's all set. Hopefully we can get 2 drafts going tomorrow. I'd like to see 2 drafts filled. Let's get a starter or a super flex going Saturday and then finish up with anybody that didn't get in RVB tonight. Let's get you in tomorrow. And if you want to take another shot, if you were in RVB tonight and you're like, you know what, I didn't nail it, I want to try again, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Scotty,
thanks for being part of the show. Thank you, Adam.
When's the World Championship kicking off? When do we got the World Championship drafts?
The slow drafts always kick off the last week of July. The last week of July, that Sunday is that August, the Sunday before August. You have your World Championships. We've already done a slow. I think we're into slow number 2 now. So slow drafts are rolling.
Love it.
You guys should review the slow draft World Championship number 1.
We'll give it a look for sure.
Johnny Cash with us tonight.
All right, boys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right. See you guys
Later.